Welcome back to the Clubhouse, and for those of you just joining us, welcome to the Tribe. We are a group of FSU alumni obsessed with the culture, the gear, and the game of golf. From breaking down tour news to roasting our own weekend blow-ups, no topic is out of bounds. Grab a drink and settle in. This is the Tea Time Tribe. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Tea Time Tribe. I'm Eric, as always, joined by Ian and John. We just completed the second major of the season, PGA Championship at Aronimink Country Club, just outside of Philadelphia. Aaron Rai gets his first major win. I think, Ian, you might have put it best. It was just it kind of ended up being another snooze fest of a major, in a sense. Nothing against Aaron Rai. Great player. John's been a fan of him for years.
Thank you, by the way. I've been on the Aaron Rai ever since 24. Just saying. Thank you.
Yeah, you were Chris too. You were definitely on the two gloves train for a while there before everyone else.
Should have used him this weekend. The other one weekend I didn't, but hey, whatever. We'll get into that.
Hey, it's okay.
We'll get into that.
Maybe that was what he needed.
that John didn't believe in him.
That wasn't on my radar at all. Yeah.
But yeah, what are initial thoughts of the overall golf course, the tournament? Any surprises that you guys saw from anyone?
Honestly, I thought the course looked awesome. It looked like a really fun golf course to play. Just the amount of, not that it's anywhere near this, but felt like it's similar to Augusta National, where I feel like the undulation doesn't do it justice on TV. I saw some of the tee boxes where I saw some little ants in the background that were people that were walking that were way down a hill that they had to hit up and over. But other than that, the greens definitely lived up to the expectation that we talked about last week. A lot of bump and run shots, a lot of creativity around the greens to try to get it close. And even with some really tough pin conditions, you saw guys out there chipping in, which was awesome. Just off the top of my head, and Justin Rose had a chip in. I think Shane Lowry had a chip in. I think John Rahm had a chip in.
A few.
Yeah.
An eagle on Thursday from off the fairway.
Yeah. Did Michael Kim putt from off the green, or was he just on the green on Friday on 18?
Oh, his eagle. Yeah, I forget. I think it was a long putt. It was just
Either way, it was like a bomb. It was like a bomb of a putt, right? But I thought the course was absolutely set up for a major championship. I feel like it was as much of a snooze fest as it was also a bitch fest. Players were just bitching the entire time, which honestly is the sign that it's a good major. That's my thought. I love hearing guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't wait for Shinnecock. It's going to be that. It's going to be like that times 10. It's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be so many tears. But yeah, no, you're right, Ian. The whining and complaining, you've done something right. Which, by the way, Friday it was Scottie did a little bit of bitching, and Rory did. Rory shot 69 on Friday and was talking about how it was the toughest pins he's ever seen. Scottie too. I'm like, you both had good rounds. And then on Saturday, Rory had the 66. He's like, it's a pretty good course. It's like, because you played better? Is that why? But I thought it was a very fair course, and it ended up being very fair. I thought it was rough wasn't as penal. Some certain holes were harder than others when it came to that. It seemed like guys were getting at it fairly easy. Had to lay up on some, but yeah, I'd never bet against Donald Ross greens. They always hold up. Always. I mean, people were talking about how it's the conditions. It could be 18 under, 20 under. Well, if his greens are left alone, intact, you don't mess them up, they're going to be tough, and that showed this week. Aaron Rai. I mean, we talked about it being kind of a snooze fest. It was an insane leaderboard leading into Sunday. I read that there were 41 people within 4 shots of the lead. The previous high in the PGA Championship was 18. Wow. So it was just a ton of people up for grabs. Aaron Rai, obviously one of them, to come back and win. Had the back night of his life. I think I don't know if he talked about it. I didn't catch him in his interviews last night, but I feel like him and his caddy, they weren't chasing distance. They were just chasing his spots. the entire back nine, and he hit all of his spots. The last couple holes, I think they made an adjustment, and they with their yardages. Because I saw the greens were starting to firm up. It was hot yesterday. It was windy. Those long irons weren't sticking to the green, so I feel like he, especially on a couple of shots, was landing it in the front of the green and letting it roll up because it wasn't sticking. So that was a huge adjustment that he made. Kept on the green, gave him some chances to make putts. That putt on 17, just insane. Just absolutely insane. And just like, he putted, and I'm sure he was just thinking, 2-putt and let's get out of here from that distance. So I'm sure he was just as shocked that he made it as the rest of us were. And ironically enough, he had an easier putt on 18 that he left short. But that was a clinical 9 holes he had on the back there, where it seemed like everyone else was chasing distance and just trying to get it close to the green as they could and give themselves chances. But he was just surgical in his last 9, and obviously paid off for him. And a well-deserved win. His story's been talked about a million times with the gloves and the iron covers, and he's been getting shit from some people, but it works. If it's more of a superstition and ode to where he came from, and certainly after winning a major, he's not going to change it up. So I would keep doing it, bro. And maybe I'll bet you here in the near future. I'm not going to make the mistake again.
Well, speaking of that, I saw that he had, I think pre-tournament, he was like 150 to 1.
Damn.
Which he was the longest odds to win a major since Phil won at Kiowa. And Phil was 200 to 1.
Jeez.
Rightfully so. I mean, Phil leading that tournament was like miscut T60, T6. He was playing terrible. And I don't even know what Aaron Rodgers' last couple of tournaments have been like. I have to look that up because you look at all these people who say they've got to be playing this, that, and the other. They got to finish these are the metrics they need to hit to even have a chance. And he wasn't on anybody's radar. So all those nerds out there, you lost this week. Sorry.
By the way, is somebody getting hot off the press news here?
Not I, brother. Yeah, I'm on B&D. I won't talk to anybody.
It's just saying Rory is a raging bitch.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Which I'll get to in a second.
Nice segue.
Yep.
I'll get into a second. But speaking on Aaron Rye's play, not only, John, like you pointed out, that he had a clinical back nine. I mean, shooting 31 in any right on Sunday at a major is ridiculous. But I think 2 things come to mind. One, that putt on 17 had the same kind of aura almost as JJ at the US Open with his putt on 18. Obviously, 17, 18 different. It was a little closer for JJ, but just the long putt, you just try to 2-putt, get out of there. Identical. The other thing is, it's interesting to see some of these, I wouldn't necessarily say no names. It was interesting to see some of these lower level guys competing in these major tournaments and getting the W's, which I know goes against what Ian said in the past of like, we want to see the big names always competing, winning these events. It brings the eyeballs in. But I think the course being extremely difficult, I think helps some of these guys. Because you have guys like I think Rory was the biggest complainer, like we talked about on Friday of just like these pin placements are almost, impossible, and the course setup is terrible and this and that. Like, Ian, what you said, this is what we want to see out of a major championship. And normally we only really see this in a US Open, sometimes in the Masters, if they let the course get there, which when we talked about the Masters previously, like they should have gotten there and they kind of screwed it up. But this is what major tournament golf needs to be like. These 18 under, 20 unders, birdies left and right at a major needs to stop. And I'm glad, given that he went on his little run on the back nine and ended up at 9 under. But, if it was any closer, the winning score looked like for a while 5 or 6 under until he won his run.
Yep. And
that's what you want to see.
Yeah. And it's one of those, unfortunately, I did like the commentary from Rory on, I think it was Friday, where he said, yes, the course is difficult, but there were some pin placements. This is the only part that I agree with. There were some pin placements out there that were like on the spines of the greens. I understand that if your greens are small because you don't have many pin placements to choose from. But these greens were massive. I felt like you had so many choices. And with the wind blowing as it did, I'm fine. Pull that pin all the way up front. Make them hit a ridiculous spinner that just like rips back to the front of the green, right? Or put it all the way in the back with the wind, like so that it's harder to hit. But don't put it on the spine, because for me, putting a pin on a spine, to what you just said, it actually favors the field. It doesn't favor the players who are actually hitting good shots, because now it's luck of the draw, depending on where your ball hits on the green. Even if you hit a really good shot, doesn't matter. If it's within 10 feet of the pin, you should always be able to hit. If you hit a shot that's within 10 feet of the pin, you should be able, with the right spin, you should be able to keep the ball within a reasonable distance. I saw many shots on Friday that were hitting right next to the pin and were off the green in the back. Now, it wasn't a hard chip shot back up, but you're putting everybody into a collection area, which isn't allowing the guys who hit a really good shot versus the guy who hit it 30 feet short and it still ran, or hit it 30 feet long and it was in the same place. That to me is just giving more of an advantage from a strokes gain perspective to the field versus the players that actually hit good shots.
I mean, yeah, I get that. I think the commentary from the players on Friday, I think, made it seem much worse than it actually was, because there was only
for sure it was
one or two holes that had that issue.
Yeah, maybe 3, maybe out of 18. So we're not talking about a lot, but it's a stroke. It's a stroke or two.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw a guy like Aubert go out on Friday and shoot a really good score, right? But he had some. If you go back and look at some of the clips, he got some really good kicks on those greens. So and he also launches the ball up sky high, right? And he's able to bring it down. Now, in that wind, do I think some of that was a bit more luck than it was anything else? Yeah. I'm not going to deny that, but yeah.
I thought the more diabolical one was Thursday on 11, where that one, if you went long, like when Bryson was right off the green and he breathed on it and it went like 40 yards. That was diabolical. If you went long, which he did.
Do we want to talk about Bryson? Do we want to talk about the implosion that was Bryson?
I was so happy.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, that's
I was
wild.
so happy.
Thursday was wild for him, man. It seemed like he had an 86, but it was 76 on Thursday. It felt way worse.
Yeah. Well, it was reminiscent of what happened at the Masters. It seemed like it was the same thing, just the next major. So it turns out you put Bryson on some tough greens. He's struggling.
It's not Donnie Ross guy, which is funny because he won the U.S. Open he won those too.
Mm-hmm.
It's Donnie Ross. It doesn't make sense.
Very strange.
One of the questions I wanted to kind of throw at you guys is, being that this was a newer golf course for a lot of these guys that they've never seen before, it's not in like the same rotation. Do you think this kind of exposed some of those guys that are used to those rotations, that know the spots, that maybe don't put in that much practice? I think this kind of gives the whole field a chance, in a sense, to see who prepares the best, who's playing the best golf, and it kind of combines those two. Do you guys kind of feel the same way, or do you think this needs to happen more, I should say, in some of these majors? Like, I know the U.S. Open has the rotation of a lot of the same places, but to me, this is going to be like basically PGA Frisco next year. They've never played that course. That's going to be new for everyone. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same kind of leaderboard of some of these smaller names.
Yeah. I enjoy it. Number one, just being the golf geek that I am. I enjoy seeing these different courses across the country. Do I think it was the right decision to go to a golf course in a town's population that was a total of 2,500 people? Probably not. But hey, it is what it is. They made whatever kind of deal that they made with the PGA, and they got on the roster. I think this does, to your point though, Eric, bring out some of the true adaptable players, some of the most elite adaptable players on tour, because you saw, I hate to say it, but Patrick Reed is a pretty adaptable fucking player. He plays fairly well in all conditions and on all course types. And he showed that. He showed that this weekend. I saw him hit some shots that both him and Chris Goddard. Now, obviously, we don't have as much of a resume to pull from for Goddard, but just seeing both of them hit some of the shots that they did this weekend were cool to see the different type of shots, right? It's not just their stock high shot. They were taking some really low flight shots onto the course, which you don't see very often.
I'm with Ian. I like having these random courses. This is one of the more random ones just because I haven't been there in almost 10 years. It was a tour event. It wasn't a major. So, yeah, next year, again, like you talk about being in Texas, that'll be a whole different ball game being there. The weather will probably be a little warmer, a little windier. If you're just out in the middle of, I know it's Dallas, but it's Frisco, so it's out in the burbs. And the other rotation, there's some more ones that they've played before. It's been a long time. So I think the PGA of America's doing a good job and putting it coast to coast all over the place. I hope they keep doing that because, yeah, I never would have heard of this place without this major this weekend.
Okay, so kind of in that realm, if you had to pinpoint one player, good or bad, that surprised you this week, who would it be?
Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Justin Thomas.
Yeah. That's a good one.
He's always good. He's always good for right now. I feel like he's on this streak of like he'll put together 2 fairly good rounds, maybe 3, but he put them together. He put a full tournament together. This was what this was 2017, 2018. JT, like this was fun to watch. Good to see him getting back into form, but definitely a surprise.
Did you see his comment?
I wrote him off so quickly.
Did you see his comment about waiting for the playoff and what he happened to go through a couple years ago?
How to be a good clubhouse leader.
Yeah, how he was like, I went out and downed like 4 or 5 beers.
Yeah,
that would have been comical to see.
Well, and he said his caddy was already on like the subway.
Yeah, it was like an hour
back to the airport.
I need you to turn around. My surprise on the good set, who did well, we haven't heard from since he went to live, was Cam Smith.
Yes,
it was good to see him playing well.
I hadn't heard from him, and I think they did his majors since he went to live, and he just missed a cut in like pretty much all of them except for this weekend. So he had a nice Saturday or Sunday. He had 66 yesterday, and then on the other side of it, I'm gonna go. Tommy Fleetwood did not make the weekend. That was a little bit surprising. He's usually I talk about adaptability. Guys who play well pretty much everywhere, at least make the cut, make the weekend. Tommy Fleet did not, so it was a bit of a shock.
Keith Mitchell was another one that was an interesting top player this weekend. Yeah, Cam Smith was a unique one, and also
Space.
I told you, roller coaster.
We called it. We all called it. I mean, we said it. We talked about it on the last pod. He's just you just can't count on him for anything, including for him to suck. Can't count on him to suck.
It is funny, man, because it's just like, I feel like golf Twitter nowadays is like, the stock on golf Twitter is how he's doing it in major. So like when he's doing well, it's when he's doing bad, it's still kind of good. And then when he's just doing what he usually does, it's just like this. So it's just
steady hum.
He's the needle. I feel like he's the needle also in majors because he's especially this week. He's one away from. This is the one he hasn't won for his Grand Slam. So it's very random. This week he's gonna get the Grand Slam.
He started off pretty strong.
Yeah, on Thursday.
He
That's what I'm
did.
saying. Thursday, he was popping off.
Yep. Speaking of popping off, what did you guys think about? I want to get your opinions on John Rahm. How do you feel like he played? Obviously, he played really well, right? But on Sunday, how do you feel like his performance was on Sunday?
I mean, his performance, and also I'm going to throw Rory into this too. I was surprised by both of them. I know the golf course was hard. I know the pins are tough. The greens are tough. I was surprised that neither of them really made some kind of run. And I know you just asked about Rahm, but specifically for Rory, I think 13, that drivable par 4, that was, to me, that was it for him. Like that was the make or break for his round. I think, looking back on it, I think the 13th hole, especially on Sunday, I think that was a very well done drivable par 4 for a Sunday major.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a...
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
No, you go ahead. I lost my train of thought. We'll come back to me. Go.
Yeah. I was going to say, so for a player that prides himself, and he has had the stats to prove it about his wedge play, just how dialed he was. Let me read you the proximity to the from the distances that he was, right? Now keep in mind this is a PGA Tour pro, right? From number 10, hits a 352-yard drive straight into the fairway. Only has 130 yards left to the hole, 38 feet. Just kind of average shot, right? Obviously missed that putt. Number 11 hits a 335-yard drive, only has 83 yards to the hole, hits it to 41 feet proximity. Again, obviously misses that putt. The fuck's going on? Okay. Number 12 knocks it. This one, understandable. He's 170 yards out, hits a good shot from 170 yards to 20 feet. Doesn't make the putt. All good. I'm okay with that, right? But number 13, the short par 4 that we just talking about, John, hits a 300-yard drive. Only has 58 feet left to the hole. Doesn't get it inside of 10 feet. These are, I personally feel like his wedge play was poor for someone who's a major champion. Like, that was just, what was going on? Why was he so off? I don't know. I don't know what's going on at the live tourneys, but that was just, I don't know, unique.
He birdied the first two. He birdied the first 2 holes too. He was dialed.
Yep.
And so I was like, might be a day. Not in the back though.
Could be a day.
Well, it's interesting you just brought up that live comment, because if you look at the leaderboard, there's a lot of live guys.
Of live players.
Reed, yeah.
There are a lot of live players that were up there this week.
Joaquin Niemann's backdoored him to a top 20 out of nowhere. I didn't know he was in the tournament. So yeah.
Did I?
I was shocked.
Oh God.
I mean, I don't know. Is this a thing of they know that, you know, the end of live is near and they got to start playing well, and they kind of more or less stepped up their game? I don't know.
Could be. It's possible.
But last kind of question on PGA Championship. What are your thoughts, or I guess I should rephrase it. What do you think was a better major after these first 2? Then they were both kind of snooze fest, both had a winner that won by a couple shots. Comparing Masters to PGA this year.
Morgan State
what was better?
Yeah, and what was better, or both? I feel like you got to say the Masters was better because Rory was involved and he made it a little bit interesting at the end. Even though we all figured he was going to win, and he was in the final group, so it came down to the final hole theoretically. Whereas Rye had like 4 or 5 groups left by the time he got done, so it was just kind of a formality. Watching the last 4 or 5 groups finish up, and he had already won. But then on the other coin, like I said, there was all day up until he started getting hot in the back nine. It's like 40 people within 3 or 4 strokes. So it was a loaded leaderboard. Just didn't really move as much until Ryan made his move and took over. So I guess overall, for the length of the tournament, I guess the Masters was a little bit more entertaining, but not by much.
Yeah.
When you look at it.
Yeah, I would agree. Here again, man, like this was premium. This was content for a Scottie comeback. Like there were multiple times on Friday and Saturday where I was telling myself, "This is it. Here he goes. Here he goes." Like he'd make a couple back-to-back birdies. He'd be like, "All right, this man is going low. He's about to blow the field out." And then Saturday and Sunday rolled around. Really didn't quite look dialed. So not separating. I did love Meredith's comment that supposedly Meredith gave him a little shit, telling him that in like the past 8 tournaments he's been runner up or top 5. So he obviously hasn't cut it. He was like, "Thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting me know. I didn't know that." So super helpful. But yeah, I mean, it is true. As shitty as it is to say, as much of a smart ass comment as that is, it's kind of true, and it's kind of unexpected of him to not finish it out. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the last 2 of the year look like, because either he's going to turn it on or he's just going to be part of the pack. I don't know.
I'm going the other way. I think the PGA was more exciting. I think the stacked leaderboard with how many people were possibly involved. Granted, I don't want to involve myself picking anything that Rory ended up winning, especially the Masters again, back to back. So, but that's beside the point. But I just think it was nice to see a lot of these names on the board that you haven't seen in a while, like the Cam Smiths. Some of these other guys, what was it? Schmid, Smalley, whatever, however you pronounce his name. It was just nice to see how these guys were going to hold up, which unfortunately at the end of the day, you kind of knew that some of those names were going to fall off. But I just liked the overall leaderboard, and I thought Aronimink played very well. I like seeing the guys struggle. So I think to your point earlier, John, of Shinnecock is going to be one hell of a tournament. I think maybe it was a little nudge that they have to make sure they step on it and kind of try to blow Oakmont out of the water. I think we want to continue that trend of seeing guys work to make pars and get rewarded and make some birdies. But yeah, Shinnecock's going to be something else.
I'm excited. Very aroused. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Next subject, to get you more aroused, President's Cup.
Oh, God.
Do you want to hear? We did this last year a lot with the Ryder Cup. Do you want to hear the current top 6 in each side?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay.
Please hit me.
Captain Brent Snedeker, U.S. top 6. Scottie, Cam Young, Ben Griffin, Russell Henley, which you forgot how to golf this week, Colin Morikawa, and J.J. Spawn.
It's not gone. He's still hanging around.
We're going to get waxed.
Well,
we're literally going to get waxed.
Please wait. Please hold.
How bad's everyone else?
I will also say the next 3 guys after JJ, Chris Goddard, JT, and Xander. So
you take 12. I think it's
12 total.
Yeah, so you get 6 autos and 6 captain picks.
Yeah. Okay. Here comes the international team, who is captained by someone I have not heard from in a very long time. Jeff Ogilvy.
Yeah.
Geoff Ogilvy, huh?
Top 6 for the international squad. Hideki Matsuyama, Siwoo Kim, Min-Woo Lee, Jason Day, Adam Scott, and this one was surprising, Nico Echevarria.
He has been playing well.
For sure. So,
and then the next 3 after that is Corey Connors, Ryan Fox, and Nick Taylor.
Nick Taylor played well this weekend, too.
Nick Taylor did play well this week.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible squad.
That's a pretty good squad.
It's not terrible.
Could this be the year they bring it back?
Probably not.
Jeff Ogilvy has been an assistant on like the last 2 President's Cups, I want to say. I yelled at him in 2022 at Quail Hollow because he had, I had a few adults say this, but the box we were in on 15T overlooked the tee box, so he was like 20 feet from me. And he showed up. He walked ahead of the group. Those finished up on 14. He was up on the box waiting for him. All the international coaches had black Nike shoes on, or nondescript white or black shoes, and he's got these multicolored Asics running shoes on that he's wearing. So I pointed at him and I'm like, "What are those?" He didn't think it was funny. He didn't think it was funny. I was like, "Those can be seen from space." He didn't think it was funny. But anyway, I'm not surprised.
That's pretty
I feel
funny, John.
he's been on. Thank you. Had you been there, it would have been funny. But yeah, he's been assistant vice captain for the last couple of them. So I guess it's now his turn to take the wheel.
Well, they are playing at Medina, so it's on U.S. soil.
Chicago.
Miracle at Medina.
That's right.
You know what I have to say to them? Don't give up. Never give up
who?
on your dreams, kid.
To who? U.S. or international? They both
To our
need to
U.S.
not
To our U.S. compadres. Don't give up.
All right, moving on. This week, CJ Cup Byron Nelson, which, Ian, I will remind you again, is not a signature event.
A signature event.
And you can just look at the field to know that as well.
Ooh,
there are a total of 3 golfers in the top 50 this week.
Oof.
So we have Scottie Scheffler at number 1, Siwoo Kim, number 24, and our good friend Jordan Spieth at number 47.
Spoth.
I was actually surprised, 47. I mean, I know he's playing shitty golf the last few years, but just hear him at 47th in the world is a little wild.
Truly.
But yeah, this seems like one of those weeks we're going to have a potential first winner, some no-name.
Although Scottie decides to sleep through it. Plus 165, plus 150 to win. Live odds.
I'm just scrolling through the list here.
Year, I think, yeah.
I'm scrolling through the list here of who's playing this week, and I can't believe we didn't talk about this. But Garrick Higo.
Oh, yeah.
The whole controversy of him not showing up on time and getting the 2-stroke penalty.
They fired his caddy today. Blamed his caddy.
Wow.
That's a cop-out. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
What was his reasoning? He didn't tell me the time?
I don't know, man. I know.
There's no excuse. Literally no excuse.
It's a perfect opportunity for him to get a watch sponsorship, though.
Maybe that's the angle he's playing.
A little Hugo Boss watch.
There you go. Not
Hugo
Rolex.
Higo.
That's too nice. Rolex isn't going to give a watch to someone who can't tell time.
That's true.
And if they're not wieners, you got to be a winner.
All right, let's see. So obviously Brooks is playing this week because he needs to continue his.
He played well, by the way. I know we didn't talk about it.
Yeah, he was.
And for those who didn't know, who didn't catch the pod last week, we did not win this week.
We did not.
But
don't worry.
We're gracefully moving past that.
We're gracefully.
I will go on a limb and say the first time we hit a try bet.
That's all we're going to talk about.
I'm going nuts.
It's going to be chaos.
I'm going Harry Higgs. I'm ripping my shirt
off.
Yeah, tarps off.
Oh, God.
But what's interesting about this, I'm looking at the list of golfers this week by the World Golf Rankings. So Brooks is number 111 in the World Golf Rankings. Do you know who number 112 is?
Tony Finau.
This blew my mind. Blades Brown.
Both moving up in the world. Okay.
Huh. Interesting.
Right?
Wow. It's a pretty high rank for a kid his age.
If you would have told me a few years ago that kid and Brooks were going to be right next to each other in the World Golf Rankings in triple digits.
It's crazy. Good for him.
Interesting.
Moving up in the world.
Trying to see any other names here we haven't heard in a while. Ryan Palmer is in here, sitting at number 941 in the world.
Sponsors invite.
Let's see. He is past champion, veteran members beyond 150 in the FedEx Cup Fall is what I see. Whatever the hell that means.
Exactly.
Yeah. Call it whatever you want.
All right. Let's do it. Who's leading us off this week? Don't you dare say Scottie Scheffler.
Why not?
Because he's not going to finish in the top 20.
You're going to curse him.
Oh, man.
Pick me. I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Pierceson Coody.
You picked him just because of the name, didn't you?
Oh, he's a Texas guy, too. So why not? Went to UT. He's from Dallas. It's kind of a home game for him. Fingers crossed.
Ian?
I am going to go with Hisatsune.
Okay.
He's not top
Rio.
50 in the world. Damn. He's been a bit of a heater.
He is.
He's just
Alright.
outside, I think.
He's 33rd. Well, official world golf ranking is 60.
Oh, are you looking at FedEx Cup or something?
Okay.
I will say he was my dark horse for last week, and when he
For
was
PGA.
climbing up the leaderboard
Yep.
on Thursday, I was a little, why didn't I bet him? But
Yeah.
he came back down to earth. All right. I think he didn't play well last week, but we've seen bits and pieces of him climbing up leaderboards. He made a splash this year at the Masters, going with Haotong Lee.
Oh.
He played well this weekend, too. Yeah. Love it.
All right. So now I need to learn how to spell
He's
all
got some
these
flash.
names.
He's got some flash, too.
This is our guy. All right. All right.
Let's see here. These are a lot of
Haotong,
interesting names.
Hisatsune.
Not
John,
easy to spell.
Who's your pick?
Pierceson
Coody.
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 Pierceson.
Okay, this puts our odds at 16-1.
All
Right
right.
where we want him.
Pretty good.
Right where we want him.
Right. We got him right where we want him.
Is that
got
though?
him right.
Well, what we need to do is whenever one hits, whatever the odds are, that's what we need to go off of from now on. You know, whenever one hits, if it's like 16-1, 12-1, 18-1, that's our number.
Good one.
So it's the
Stick to
magic
it.
formula. Yeah. We don't want to have too good odds to make too much money.
No.
That's
We have to do
true.
it
That's
incrementally.
You'd never want too good odds. Yeah.
I don't want like plus 20,000. Like, no.
God.
we gotta earn it.
All right. Well, any other thoughts, gentlemen, on PGA this week? The not signature event of the CJ Cup.
No.
No, no.
Already
I
looking forward to Shinnecock, though.
might have to try out the 2-glove look at some point. See how that does.
There's something to be said about that.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Just like that.
Champions.
All right. Well, another round in the books here for the tribe. Thanks again for hanging out. Remember, if you enjoyed the show, subscribe and share it. And until next time, keep it in the short grass, keep those drinks cold, and as always, go Knowles.
Knowles.